When somebody leaves the church, members often make a lot of accusations and assumptions about them. False assumptions like, we never really had a testimony, or we left because we just wanted to sin. But I think there's one accusation they make that's true. Members often comment on how somebody who left the church lost the light in their eye and how dark their countenance is. And while they mean it in a judgmental way, like they think we lost the spirit and we're just choosing to live in sin, I think they're partially right. When someone leaves the church, it's often because we realized that something we believed our entire lives was just not true. And this brings such an element of trauma and shock, knowing that everything that we had known and believed our whole lives wasn't right. On top of that, the whole support system we had often breaks. Friends and family often reject us, abandon us, and spread rumors about us, leaving us utterly alone without any support. We have no friends or family who will hear us out and believe that what we have come to know is actually valid. Then feelings of anger and resentment start to fester because we realize that the love that we grew up learning about and feeling in our church and our family was conditional on us believing the exact same things. So all these emotions of feeling lied to and deceived and rejected and abandoned all come together and look like a loss of light and a dark countenance, because that is depression. It's very common that these feelings of anger and resentment get carried over into how people feel about God, feeling like God let this happen to them, God let them be deceived and lied to, and it's God's fault. Or maybe God isn't even there at all. It's interesting because most psychologists understand that the way that most people view their relationship with their own father is how they also perceive their relationship with God. If your dad is manipulative and if he has rejected you and abandoned you, you will most likely think that God is also rejecting and abandoning you and punishing you. Now, as most of us have come out of our season of shock and trauma and depression from the initial blow of coming out of the church, and we have found happiness, we have found that there is so much good and joy to be found outside of the church. I believe from my own experience that there's also so much beauty and joy and love and healing to be found when we come to understand who God really is outside the confines of any religion. Religion will have you think that God loves you conditionally, only if you do exactly as they say in their set of rules. Even the Levitical priests in the Old Testament and the Pharisees in the New Testament, Jesus rebukes them, saying that that is a tradition of man, and what they teach the people is false doctrine that causes people to stumble. But coming to know Jesus in a personal and individual way is such a different experience. There was a short time after I left the church where I thought, how could God have let me be deceived for so long? Until I realized that's just how the world is. Anybody and everybody can deceive you, but it was God who actually let me wake up. God showed me the truth, and He's brought me so much joy and happiness ever since.